everybody. Yeah, I've got one more restaurant review I'm going to do tonight, and then I'm going to get to talking about some other stuff. This is the second restaurant review I'm going to do tonight. It's not another hookah bar. It's not another Mediterranean restaurant, and it's not in Cold Spring either. This next restaurant is actually, it's a chain restaurant, and it's actually pretty good. Tony and I ate there last night on Friday night, and it's over. The one that we know that we tried out was the one in Florence. It was called Chili's. It's the one that's got the the red chili pepper with a little green top on it. Tony and I went there because A, there wasn't any food in the house, and B, we just wanted to try something different. And Tony, well, it was more Tony wanted to try it. I mean, we discussed maybe trying it this week or something, so we did. Well, we actually got an appetizer to start off the meal. It was, we did the 3 appetizer because, I was like, well, I just want to try that, just to try it. We got wings, boneless and boned wings, and like the chimichanga things, like the little mini chimneys, like what Perkins used to have over here in Highland Heights before they closed and got replaced by the Frisch's. They were pretty good. I had for my meal a barbecue hamburger, hold of course the lettuce and tomato, because one thing you'll learn about me is I don't eat lettuce and tomato on my stuff. If I wanted a salad, I'd get one. That's my opinion. Because just sometimes some restaurants get a little happy with the lettuce and tomato and they don't taste real good. That's why I don't have that on there. It's like, yuck. And it was something Bach beer barbecue. Tony had ribs. Of course, talking about my burger, the thing was huge. I didn't bring it up here to give you an idea, but it was pretty thick. It's like that thick. I mean, it was like meat, cheese, onion straws, and a whole bunch of other stuff on it. It didn't have pickles. It actually had cucumbers. I'm talking like cucumbers, not pickled cucumbers. And it was just big. It's so big I had to cut it in half with a knife just to pick it up to eat it. I got a side of fries with it. And the fries were pretty good. Tony had, like I mentioned, ribs. He got a deal where it was like the 2 half racks. He did a half a rack of Memphis dry rub and a half rack of the Bach barbecue ribs. It's the same barbecue sauce like what I had on my hamburger. And we both agreed that barbecue sauce was pretty good. And the Memphis dry rub, he said, was good. I'll take his word on it. I'm not a big rib eater. He is. Although Tony is, for sure. A big rib eater. I mean, it's a pretty good little restaurant. It's new. The one out in Florence is. That restaurant, I'd say, might have been there like a year, maybe 2. I mean, well, definitely a year. I mean, they've, put out there, and that's like one of those restaurants we've been meaning to eat at and haven't yet. We have now, like Aladdin in the last video. You gotta kind of excuse me tonight. And I know I didn't mention it in any of the last videos, but I've been kind of sick, like the past 2 days. I've got stomach virus or something. It's been messing with me. That's why I've kind of, just if I'm acting a little bit not so like, giddy, it's just my stomach's in turmoil right now. And it's not from what I ate last night, just for the record. I've just had a little too much excitement in my life lately. And I won't say from what. And it's not, other than it wasn't from my supper. Okay. But anyway, back to talking about Chili's restaurant. Chili's is actually a pretty good restaurant, and we didn't know this, so we kind of absconded with the little controller thing off the other table, the nearby table. They actually have a thing where it's like you can like practically order your food without the wait staff and pay your check without them too, because it's like you can pay it right there electronically. And I thought it was pretty neat. Of course our table didn't have one because the battery died. The waiter was awesome. I even told the manager to her face that I thought he was good. He was he was on top of it. And like I've mentioned before, and I've said this in like some other videos, and I feel it's fit to bring up now, Tony and I are picky about our tips. We actually gave our waiter, and this speaks volumes for me personally, we actually gave, since I was the one that paid the bill, I actually gave I'd say about a 21% tip, which is saying something. I won't say how much we spent, but I will tell you, I did definitely give them a 20% tip. And usually I am like stingy as hell. Usually, depending on the service, you know, I mean, if they do good, I mean, depending on how, if they did acceptable, and this is something I should bring up now, if I feel that the wait staff did an okay job, usually I'll get, if I have the money, keep that in mind, if I have the extra money on the tip, for a tip, they will get like $2 to $3. If I have just enough money to pay for my supper and full and get out, the wait staff isn't getting a tip. It's not anything against them. It's just sometimes I have just enough money to pay for my meal, and that's all. I mean, you know, I would give them a tip if I had extra money. But you know, if they, like I said, if they did okay, I'll give them, you know, like $2 to $3 or something, a couple dollars. If they do good, you know, what I consider good or, you know, better, you know, they'll get more like 5 to 6. If they do really good, like this guy did last night, we gave him an off the hook tip. I'm pretty sure the guy was happy when he saw how much of a tip we gave him. I'm willing to bet, because I won't say how much it was, because I don't want you all to figure out about how much we paid. But I mean, he got. This is one thing I love about my cell phone, is I, you know, cracked it open and figured out what 20% was, and you know. But I will say this: it was less than $15 on a tip. Okay, I will say that. But it was more than it was between 6 and 15, but it was less than 15. Okay, I mean, the guy got himself a pretty good tip. And I'm the kind of person, and I'm twisted enough to do this, just because it makes it easier for me to keep track. And I know this probably makes the wait staff crazy, but what I do is, like, if it's, say, we'll just pick a number. And I think I've mentioned this before in a video. Say the check, and this wasn't what the price of my food was last night, just hypothetically speaking, say the check is $15.82. What I will do is whatever it is, it'll be, like, say I do a $5 tip, it'll be $5.18 to make it, you know, whatever. You know, I mean, to make it 21 bucks even, for example. Just for an example, that's not what it cost last night, but, you know, I mean, just as an example, that's what I do. So it's like, if the wait staff ever gets it like, if you ever wait on me and, you know, you end up with a twisted tip, that's why. It's just because, you know, like, for example, I really give those kinds of twisted tips just because I want it to be like, you know, like total tip and price of food, like an even dollar amount, you know, like $25 or $26. I mean, I'm not going to make it an even 30, you know, say if it was less than that, tip and everything. I mean, unless you did like an off the hook really good job. But, you know, yeah, I mean, the guy got, you know, his tip, you know, is like the amount. And the other thing is, on him, 20% would have been like something, and, you know, it was like, it ended in like it was like something and 20 cents was the total. I made it 80, I gave him an 8, it was, you know, his whole dollar amount plus 80 cents, which was more than the 20%. It would have been like something and 2 cents or something, and I'm like, please, you know, I'm gonna make it an even dollar amount. You know, that was my thought. Yeah, 'cause that was kind of lame. Well, anyway, you know, I really recommend Chili's, and you know, if you go there and eat, hopefully you'll get sat in a spot that has the little box things, because I mean, you can actually, you know, pay, and you know, you won't have to wait for them to bring you your check and everything. I thought that was cool. I'm gonna pause here because I've got some other stuff to talk about, and we'll get going. All right, so hang on.